TCR, what are you doing?
Welcome, my friends. This is ARowdy.com. Big Three talking NASCAR with Buzz Cutler. My name is Bass Masters. You, sir, have today's three big burning issues or questions or whatever they are.
We're still talking Martinsville. We got to talk Jimmie Johnson, the speeding penalty. He said, look, I was between two speeding markers, two timing markers on pit road, so there's no way, because I sped up between them and I slowed down again before I got to the marker. There's no way I was speeding.
Well, there is a way he was speeding.
He was speeding.
I think he was speeding, but here's the thing. They figured out over there a way to kind of game the system. If you determine who's speeding on pit road by time segments. You know, I have X number of seconds I can cross this line and this line, and if I cross the two lines sooner, if they take too little time, then you know I was speeding. You put your pit box in the middle of one of those, well then that segment, you know, you're going to stop in the middle. So it kind of screws up the whole timing thing. Better yet, put your pit box half in one and half in another. Now you got two segments you can actually speed in.
I understand that.
And that's what they're trying to do. But I assume that he didn't do it this time, even though that's what he was trying to do.
Obviously he didn't do it. So for Jimmie Johnson to say, I wasn't speeding, why doesn't he just say, yeah, well, we were trying something, and obviously it didn't work this time? NASCAR, they're not going to just make up, oh, Jimmie Johnson, we don't want to see you win because you're Jimmie Johnson, so we're going to make up the fact that oh, that's ridiculous.
Well, the question it raises, though, is...
It's ridiculous.
Is there some other method that they're using to determine whether a guy is speeding that we don't know about? Because if it's timing lines, then you have this time. And if you go faster, you're speeding. But if you don't, because you stopped in the middle, then you're not.
Well,
so that
why do you think that there's some other system?
I don't. But that's what Jimmie Johnson's implying. He's basically saying, well, look, I was going faster than the speed limit, but I was doing it between these timing lines with my stop in the middle. So therefore, I shouldn't have been violating their edict based on the rules that they used, but they changed it just for me. Now, unless there's evidence that has taken place, I don't know why we would think that it had.
Jimmie Johnson is implying anything. I think he's whining. I think Jimmie Johnson is being a big fat whiner.
Oh, stop.
Let's talk about Kyle Busch. Actually, let's let Kyle Busch talk about Kyle Busch. Then we'll talk about Kyle Busch.
One of the best runs here we've ever had, and probably had the best car here today, and unfortunately just didn't win with it. We just didn't quite have the car to do it on a short run. Every time we had the lead off pit road, we lost it. Probably would have had something to beat him with. Just can't find speed here at Martinsville when it matters most.
What I find interesting about Kyle Busch, okay, the past two races, he has had arguably the dominant car of the afternoon, yet has failed to close the deal. Contrast that with Kevin Harvick, who has had, you know, at times a mediocre car over the past two weekends, yet has come out victorious. One is racing like a champion, performing like a champion. One, maybe not quite yet.
I don't know. I mean, I think Kyle Busch is showing what he needs to show. Wins at Bristol, finishes top 5 at California and at Martinsville. He is performing to me like a guy who should be in contention for the championship.
Well, he's atop the rankings.
And he's leading the points. So I don't have any problem with Kyle Busch's performance this year. I like the way he's handled himself in the face of disappointment. That's part of it, too. You're not going to go out and win every week. Kevin Harvick's won 2 in a row. He's not going to go out and win every week. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen for Kyle Busch. Once you know that, you get the most you can out of your car on that particular day. Yes, at Martinsville, if we'd ended on a long run, I think Kyle Busch would have won that race. He didn't. He ended up 3rd. That's not too bad. That's not giving away too many points. So I think Kyle Busch so far is showing that he's in championship form. We'll see if it lasts.
Don't get me wrong. I'm very impressed with the way Kyle is performing, and with, as you said, the way he is reacting to his performance. It's just interesting to compare him to Kevin Harvick, and right now,
a break either way, and you know, you're looking at Kyle with 2 wins in 3. If we hadn't got that last caution, you're looking at Kyle with 2 wins in 3 races.
I'm just giving a slight nod to Kevin Harvick over Kyle Busch.
You know I'm big on Kevin Harvick, and I would give a nod to Kevin Harvick over Kyle Busch right now too.
Let's talk a little bit about the restarts at Martinsville, because it was clear that you needed the bottom of the racetrack on the restart, or you were going to be like Juan Pablo Montoya and get shuffled to the back.
You needed the bottom anytime. You had to have the bottom to go anywhere.
On restarts.
Now, on the restart, a bunch of guys automatically get put on the outside.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those guys that happens to start in the odd number or the even-numbered position, 2nd, 4th, 6th, you get my drift, you were going to have an issue on the restart.
10th, 12th.
Exactly. You've got it now. That was one of the impressive things about both Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick on Sunday, which was, you know, Kyle Busch was in the outside for restarts a lot of the day. Most of the time, he didn't lose too much. He was able to race with the leader just hard enough if he started in second to drop in behind him eventually. Harvick, when Jimmie Johnson got that penalty on the final restart of the day, he went to the nice inside line to the outside line. Yes, he moved up a spot, but it was second. It was in the outside line. He lost a couple spots and was able to come back from that. So the restarts were big.
And let me ask you this. On that final restart of the day, because of Jimmie's penalty, who moved into the inside line?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And what would his afternoon have been like if he had found himself on the outside?
I think it would have been a lot harder.
I think it would have been a much different outcome for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You're looking at more like a fifth and a sixth. Fifth or a sixth probably instead of a second.
Maybe. We
Based
saw
on the luck of the draw.
We saw Juan Pablo Montoya get shuffled about 15 spots back on a restart from being in the first or second row.
I don't remember. He was in the first row, and he went back to 14th.
It's interesting. I mean, not to take anything away from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s performance, but when you factor in this luck of the draw on restarts.
And it's an interesting thing, especially at a track like Martinsville. I mean, it comes into play everywhere. But at Martinsville in particular,
where there's really only one good group.
You really have to have the bottom.
All right, that has been your Rowdy.com Big 3 for today, Tuesday. What is it, April 5th?
Yep.
Today, Tuesday, April 5th. Thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow. We'll do this all again.
Yeah, you can subscribe to this thing on iTunes, which is kind of neat. And our podcast, our audio podcast, you can listen in your car and drive without being distracted. So check us out on iTunes if you have a chance.
Don't text while you're driving.
No, don't do that.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.